What's up, MetaNerds? This breakdown will be pulling from every source available to completely understand this fascinating species. Residing on the remote but somehow always in the news planet of Tatooine, the Jawa species, sentient and reminiscent of diminutive rodent-like creatures, can brag that their planet's name comes from their own native word for their world, Tatooine, located at R6 in what was called the Slice within the Outer Rim. These beings trace their lineage back to the Kumumgah, ancient inhabitants of a pre-desert Tatooine, thriving long before the emergence of the Galactic Republic. In a dramatic pre-25200 BBY event, the Rakata from the Infinite Empire orchestrated a catastrophic orbital strike as retribution against the Kumumgah's insubordination. This assault transformed Tatooine's verdant surface into a sea of fused glass, later crumbling into the iconic desert sands.
It would appear that they once had a thriving technologically advanced society, but were wiped out by a much more sophisticated alien species. His arrogant people touched the stars, and this sin drew the attention of the builders. Soil became glass, grinding to sand, but the fight was long planned, and his people were safe, deep in cave homes carved from valley wall.
This dramatic environmental upheaval led to the evolutionary bifurcation of the Kumumgah into the towering Gorphas, ancestors of the Sand People, and the comparatively diminutive Jawas. Intriguingly, analysis of ancient stone carvings scattered across worlds, including Corellia and Coruscant, have led Imperial Archaeologist Division experts, circa 1 ABY, to speculate of an era of Jawa interstellar travel. However, this theory still remains unconfirmed, and adding to the mystery, Jawas during the Jedi Civil War portrayed themselves as unrelated to the Sand People and as aliens to Tatooine, raising questions about their origin and history, which may or may not be a strategic disassociation from their more belligerent relatives. Physically, Jawas average 1 meter in height and 30 kilograms in mass, with black skin and hair, and eyes shimmering in hues of yellow, orange, or red. Their expected lifespan mirrors a standard 80-year cycle, and they follow an omnivorous diet. The enigma of what lies beneath their heavy robes has fueled rampant speculation among Tatooine settlers, with theories ranging from giant rodents to devolved humans. And while most Jawas conform to their 1 meter height norm, some exceptionally tall individuals almost match the 1.71 meters of a 3PO series protocol droid. This could just be a random genetic mutation, or maybe one of them salvaged some growth hormone, but it might be more evidence to that theory of them being aliens from a once spacefaring Jawa people, and these latent genetic attributes just pop up every now and then. A unique cultural aspect of Jawa life is their distinctive robes, tailored for moisture regulation and insulation. These garments, initially cut to the armpit in youth, are gradually lengthened as the Jawa grows, with the hem serving as a measure of height. An adult Jawa's robe typically measures 5 to 6 hems, as both a marker of maturity and a testament to their life journey. The notorious gangster Adwin Charu once described the Jawa's scent as musky and animalistic, likening it to a group of damp rats. So although I think we'd all love to tour a Jawa Sandcrawler, you might not want to smell it, and you gotta imagine predators could pick up on that scent from miles away. Pelimoto, an observer of Jawa physiology, noting their surprisingly furry nature, in studies conducted by Boabab xenobiologists through examination of Jawa corpses and skeletal remains, revealed their gaunt, rodent-like appearance, with withered faces and those characteristic yellow eyes. And like with many other humanoid species, there's always a potential link to Rakatan's genetic manipulations. They meticulously conceal their faces with cloth shrouds, serving multiple purposes: moisture retention, identity concealment, and body heat regulation. Embedded within these cloths are polished orange gemstones, designed to shield their sensitive eyes from Tatooine's glaring suns. Their hands, the only visible parts of their bodies, are where we can actually see some of the tufts of fur on their palms. And that scent that was overwhelmingly strong to most species is an intricate communication tool among Jawas. It conveys a wealth of information, including identity, health status, clan lineage, dietary habits, emotional state, and more. This potent odor is intensified by their practice of soaking their robes in a special moisture-retaining solution, and their aversion to water-wasting activities like bathing, which tends to attract insect swarms into their hoods. They've also evolved several crucial survival traits. They possess exceptional night vision and a robust immune system. Their normal body temperature soars to 46 degrees Celsius or 116 degrees Fahrenheit, indicative of a high metabolism and effective digestive system. This physiological setup allows them to extract maximum nutrients from their primary food source, the Huba gourd. They epitomize the essence of a communal, scavenging society, dedicating their lives to meticulously combing the deserts of Tatooine. The pursuit is the recovery of any remnant of metal, droid, or mechanical component, and there is plenty of it, a testament to the planet's long history of star travel and technological progress. The arid climate of Tatooine acts as a natural preservative, aiding their quest by keeping these relics largely intact. And while many non-Jawas view them as mere scavengers and thieves, the Jawas wear this as a badge of honor.
Tika, if you're going to steal my parts and then sell them back to me, could you at least clean them first, as a courtesy?
Their unspoken creed revolves around them not seeking practical utility in their scavenged finds, but envisioning potential users for them. This philosophy underpins their relentless trade endeavors, dealing with almost any entity they encounter. They possess an almost innate knack for machinery and electronics, skilled in revitalizing equipment just long enough to make it marketable. And if it breaks down, you just have repeat customers.
Hey, what are you trying to push on us?
Their society is structured around clan families, each with defined territories for residence and scavenging. Leadership within the clans is twofold: the male clan chief, who leads each Sandcrawler, and the more influential female shaman, who oversees the clan's overall operations.
Sith doctors are very curious about the source of your powers.
Shamanic ascension is unique, hinging on either exhibiting Force abilities, surviving an illness with hallucinatory visions, or being selected as the incumbent shaman's successor. Shamans, revealed for their perceived foresight and mystical powers, play a pivotal role in the clan, performing rituals and spells for protection and prosperity. Despite the patriarchal leanings of Jawa society, shamans command immense respect and do not travel with the Sandcrawlers, instead residing within the clan's fortress. Hinting at two things: there's almost a Viking-like aspect here, all packing into a Sandcrawler to sail the Dune Seas and hoping to find treasures to bring back home to your clan. And in a world with countless deadly predators, both beasts and blaster-wielding variants, they truly felt that the rituals and spells performed by the shaman protected them. But beyond the shamans, Jawa society generally accords little respect to females, with no power over decisions, meant to stay in the homes within the fortress, while the crux of the male's existence is scavenging and trading. Upon reaching adulthood, Jawas are assigned to their Sandcrawlers to partake in the hunt of salvageable goods. Those not involved in scavenging reside in the fortress hidden deep in the desert, and where Jawa children are safely raised. These fortresses, constructed from the remnants of wrecked spacecraft, serve as bastions against sand people, crate dragons, and Tatooine's fierce sandstorms. And though it's never mentioned, we have to wonder if Jawas ever attacked rival fortresses. But what we know for sure is that peace was the norm amongst clans.
Let's pause and thank this video's sponsor, Magic Spoon. I love these guys. They're one of my favorite high-protein snacks out there. Good morning for cereal. They also got these amazing new snack bars. My favorite one is the chocolate chip cookie. When you add milk to it, I'm hitting like 30 grams of protein in just this little bowl. A cup of cereal, a cup of milk. It's delicious. The magic is that the cereals have 0 grams of sugar, and depending on which one you get, it'd be 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 to 5 grams of net carbs in each serving. The magic there comes from the use of fiber and allulose, but they're all high quality, simple ingredients, no artificial ingredients, and it really is great as a little snack. You can eat them dry, which I've been doing to make most of this video. Be sure to click the link down below to get some Magic Spoon cereal today. You can build your very own custom box with all the flavors you love. Use my code MetaNerdz for $5 off. You can choose from the best-selling cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, and maple waffle flavors. Plus a ton of other awesome flavors, including honey nut, blueberry muffin, birthday cake, cinnamon roll, and chocolate chip cookie. And while you're there, be sure to check out their new treat line. They're both great, but if I had to pick one, it'd be this guy. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed by a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So start the new year off right by clicking the link down below, or scan the QR code on the screen, and using the code MetaNerdz for $5 off. Or go to magicspoon.com/MetaNerdz to save $5 on your order today. And also, for you MetaNerds out there in Canada or the UK, they're now shipping out there too. So be sure to check them out in the link down below.
Annually, just before Tatooine's storm season, an extraordinary event takes place: the Jawa Swap Meet in the Dune Sea's Great Basin. Here, Sandcrawlers from various clans converge, and Jawas engage in an exchange of salvage. This gathering also serves as a platform for inter-clan activities like sharing navigational data about the ever-shifting desert terrain and arranging marriages to foster cultural and genetic diversity amongst the clans. The Jawas' ingrained scavenger instincts extend to their social norms, particularly in matrimonial matters. It's commonplace among different Jawa family clans to engage in the barter of sons and daughters for marriage, a term in Jawa'ese that translates to trading of marriage merchandise. And the norm in all clans was a public consummation of these marriages, which was not optional but expected and customary. A way of ensuring amongst all the different clans that this marriage was legit, and that the two you were looking at swapping moisture rags hopefully really would be the mother and father of whatever offspring came about. Communication within all Jawa communities is conducted in Jawa'ese, a language characterized by its high-speed variability and complexity. The language becomes even more nuanced with the incorporation of sense to add emphasis and tonal subtleties. To facilitate trade and interaction with other species, Jawas employed a simplified version of their language known as the Jawa trade language.
It is doubtful he can be clearer. Their language is difficult even for droids. He is using a trade language to try and help.
This dialect strips away the olfactory elements and uses more simple words and grammar to make it more accessible for those species frequently engaging with them. Their culinary preferences include a fondness for squills, valued for their tough and robustly flavored meat. An anecdotal incident involves the Jawa clan scavenging an Imperial transport capsule, where they fortuitously discovered squills and were very happy to have both a meal and new scrap material. And despite their generally peaceful nature, Jawas are occasionally equipped for self-defense. Their arsenal typically includes ion blasters, designed to disable droids rather than cause physical harm, and restraining bolts for droid control. In addition to this, they are often equipped with an array of tools for droid repair, demonstrating their ingenuity, and they are skilled at constructing monster droids, bespoke assemblages crafted from various droid parts, tailored to meet the specific requirements of their customers. Though oddly, they never seem to have any lethal weaponry or droid units to help in defense, which is even more odd when you understand their history. Their need for a secure sanctuary, especially from the physically dominant Gorfas, who often attacked and enslaved them, was a defining aspect of their culture.
Came out of nowhere. Wait, damn it! Here they come again. How did it do that?
This necessity became particularly pressing around 3959 BBY. During this period, the Zerka Corporation introduced several Sandcrawlers to Tatooine, lured by the prospect of lucrative mining opportunities. However, the corporation soon vacated the planet, deterred by the instability of the local ores.
Zerka Corporation has really tried to hide this, but it just seems that Tatooine metal is unfit for effective manufacturing.
The Jawas, seizing this opportunity, quickly repurposed the abandoned Sandcrawlers into mobile homes. These mammoth vehicles not only offered protection from Gorfa attacks, but also revolutionized Jawa society, facilitating their nomadic lifestyle of scavenging across the desert, becoming a symbol of Jawa resilience and resourcefulness, and forever ensuring that these people would be great mechanics, as it all required constant upkeep to remain operational. With the settlement of colonists on Tatooine, the Jawas, in contrast to the hostile Sand people, saw this as an opportunity. Utilizing their Sandcrawlers, they scoured the desert for discarded droids and equipment, which were either sold or bartered. However, their occasional tendency to appropriate items of interest did tarnish their reputation among settlers, casting them as somewhat untrustworthy. But they were far too valuable trade partners, and nowhere near the problem that the Sand people were. The profits from these trades presumably went to purchasing some exotic meats and other supplies and essentials for the Sandcrawler crew and for their families back in the fortress. Their adaptability and scavenging skills led them to venture beyond Tatooine to other planets such as Ryloth, Florum, and garbage-rich worlds like Raxus Prime, home to the Miknu clan. They were also observed on Gennon, working for the crime lord Grappa, and even on the bustling planet of Coruscant. And Arcan 4 was just another one of the planets that made their Jawa presence known. In 19 BBY, when Jedi Das Janir visited Orvax 4, two of his companions, belonging to a shorter species, disguised themselves as Jawas. This tactic suggests that Jawas were not an uncommon sight on Orvax 4, more evidence to how widespread their presence was, and how they were integrated into various planetary cultures. In the pivotal year of 0 BBY, they would become entangled with the will of the Force itself when they incapacitated the droid R2-D2 and brought him into their Sandcrawler, where C-3PO was already captive. Selling these droids off to Owen Lars, this transaction would change the fate of the entire galaxy. By 4 ABY, a Jawa Sandcrawler captain named Teal Kak made an extraordinary discovery. While salvaging Grizzid's crashed ship, he encountered a Rancor, which he handed over to Jabba de Silajek Tior, the notorious Hutt crime lord. Post the Battle of Endor, a rather unusual situation unfolded involving Jawas, with a group of 480 being transported to the moon of Endor as a part of a salvage mission to recover valuable technology from the remnants of the battle, involving Imperial ships and vehicles, and the greatest salvage of all, the Death Star. However, the mission took an unexpected turn when the Jawas mutinied, forming a bandit gang that targeted visitors to the moon. Perhaps all this greenery just drove them mad, not being able to get outside and touch sand. In the aftermath of the Battle of the Great Pit of Carkoon, Jawas with yellow eyes found Boba Fett, weakened from his escape from a Sarlacc, and they stripped him of his corroded Mandalorian armor. When Fett regained consciousness, a Jawa knocked him out again with a blaster. The armor eventually found its way into the hands of red-eyed Jawas, and remember these different eye colors are actually based on the gems that they put in these eye sockets, but it was these Jawas that encountered Cobb Vanth, a fugitive from Mos Belgo. In exchange for a Comtomo of Silcax oxalate crystals, the Jawas offered Vanth the Mandalorian armor. By 17 ABY, some Jawas were forcefully taken to Skip 5 on the Smuggler's Run to assist with repairing damaged Imperial equipment. Additionally, a galactic beverage named Jawa Juice served the establishments like Dex's Diner on Coruscant. And supposedly this is where the drink became famous, although it neither originated from this diner nor was made by Jawas. And remember that emerging theory that they might have once been a spacefaring people. Perhaps the so-called off-world Jawas were just getting back to their roots. Their migration to other planets, facilitated by their great trade connections, led them to continue their scavenging practices in new environments. On Navarro, home to the Tribe, in Arvala 7, where a clan owned a Sandcrawler, Jawas maintained their traditional lifestyle. It's not clear how this was moved here, if it actually came from Tatooine, or perhaps was built here, having parts ordered and or salvaged. We know they could probably build anything they wanted wherever they were, as long as they had the right parts. If not, it must have been a massive transport ship to get one off of Tatooine and across the galaxy. And on Arvala 7, Din Djarin, the Mandalorian bounty hunter, encountered these Jawas when he found his ship, the Razor Crest, partly dismantled by them. After a confrontation, and with the assistance of Kuo and Ugnaught, Djarin negotiated with the Jawas, agreeing to retrieve a Mudhorn egg in exchange for the parts of his ship. His success in this task led to the restoration of the ship's components, and what would become Djarin's signet of Clan Mudhorn. And by getting them such an exotic good, they were able to overlook the use of a war crime weapon against them. So that's it for the breakdown. As for behind the scenes facts, the iconic Jawas made their debut in Star Wars Episode 4, where Lucas initially envisioned a Jawa prototype resembling a rat, but later discarded the idea and deemed it overly theatrical, going for the more mysterious look of them being all covered up. In the actual movie, the Jawas are portrayed by 12 local children, including Tiffany L. Kurtz, the daughter of Gary Kurtz, a producer of the film. They wore black stocking masks and eye bulbs wired to create the glowing eye effect. The canonical appearance of Jawas beneath their hoods remains a mystery, as no official source has confirmed their true looks, though all the lore from those different scientists do all but confirm that they would just look like rats. Behind the scenes imagery from Return of the Jedi shows them with squarish heads, black cloth, and large mechanical yellow eyes. But of course those latter parts are part of the costume design and not necessarily indicative of their actual appearance. And their ties to their violent cousin species was in the original Star Wars novelization, hinting at a possible kinship between the Jawas and Tusken Raiders, and describes the Jawas in a metaphorical sense as rodent-like and akin to devolved humans. In 1978, musician Neil Young featured small hooded creatures with glowing eyes, named Road Eyes, in his concerts and tour film, and on the cover of his album Rust Never Sleeps. This led to one of the more unusual copyright infringement cases related to Star Wars, which was eventually settled at a court. In Knights of the Old Republic, they explored the theory that Jawas, along with Gorfas, may be human or at least human-related, and suggested in a dialogue with the Sand People storyteller, where HK-47 comments humorously on the potential strain such a theory could put on the meatbags belief system, as the Gorfas demonize the human settlers, and vice versa.
Cautionary, Master, if you mean to suggest that humanity is ancestrally linked to ancient Tatooine, you will strain his belief system to its pitiful meatbag maximum.
The Jawas also inspired elements in other Lucasfilm creations. For instance, the Weavers Guild in the computer game Loom does bear a resemblance to the Jawas. If you made it this far, please hit that like button, subscribe to see more, and check out these other videos, I'm sure you'll like them. But most important of all, remember, pop some new filters in your helmet if you're gonna tour a Sandcrawler, and the Force will be with you, always.